Hey everybody, final thoughts time for Voyages, which I just adore. This is two wonderful things in the same package. One, a phenomenal roll and write game. I really enjoy it. So clean and simple. Roll the three dice. One of them tells you which way to move. I'm going to go south. One of them tells you how far. Oh, I'm getting closer to that island. And then one of them tells you, hey, what duty am I going to do on board? Getting closer and closer to unlocking all kinds of bonuses. And then just go again. This is a very fun, fast playing solo game, but it also works really well as a competitive multiplayer game too. And I should point out, by the way, folks, if you watch the main run through, remember that was for both Ruel and I our first play of the game ever. So forgive us for any goofs. I think Paulo had a field day with us. But one thing I did want to point out: the way that we played is a kind of unofficial third variant. Because if you want to play it cooperatively, the standard way to play is everybody's still using the three dice, but it's a race to 3 stars. And whoever gets there first triggers the end of the game. And then the stars are worth points and everybody tallies up. That is interesting, but it doesn't necessarily work so well for like a big mass online playing like what we did, and or just even trying to play remotely with people, friends and family. So the solo rules have you keeping track every round, so you play exactly 16 rounds. And that's what we decided to do. That's how we decided to make the video, because we just figured it would work better for people who want to come along later and beat our total newbie scores. Because then there's no question of, well, how long did the game actually last? Was it, I got 3 stars a lot earlier, or whatever it might be. So I actually reached out and I asked Rory, one of the designers of the game, the way we played, is that a valid way to go? And he said, yeah, that's the way we suggest people play if they are in a state where they're doing like some big mass bingo event over online stuff or what have you. So for people who are saying, hey, wait a minute, you didn't play by the rules, well, there are some unofficial rules. And I do think in some ways that might be the best way to go, because I have played it competitively with Jen. With the standard, hey, chase after 3 stars, that triggers the end of the game. And the interesting thing is, it is still a race, but when you play that way, you can go for longer than 16 rounds. And Jen, I found that, we did tend to take longer, 18, 20 rounds. And at that point, the game kind of felt like, well, it would have been fine if we'd ended a couple of rounds ago. We would have felt a little bit more pressure. Yes, we still feel pressure on each other because we're both racing to get that main stuff. But I almost feel like I prefer the solo rules of, nope, mark them as you go. You have exactly 16 rounds. Do what you can in that time. Because it leads to more interesting moments, like in the run through where I just, I got to, wow, the game is almost over. I'm going to have to sacrifice some plans and go for different plans, and I'm literally going to have to pivot. When we play with the official competitive rules, again, the pressure just isn't quite so omnipresent, and the game can go a little bit longer. So I think for the future, even though the competitive game when Jen and I play, because believe me, I plan on playing this in the future. I have subscribed to this service. Only £4 British. That's like $5.25 US. Totally worth it. And I look forward to seeing what new maps will be coming in the future and printing them out and giving them a go. Although my plan is actually, as new maps come out, and I do need to do this for the existing 4 maps that are available as of today. What is today? The end of April 2022. I plan on, going down to a local print shop, getting them printed really nice on a laser printer rather than my inkjet, and then getting them properly laminated and cut so that they will fit in my on-tour box. Because this box has plenty of room for plenty more maps, even laminated ones, and this is just about the right size for these, and I think that's going to be perfect. Because that leads to the other, I think, really wonderfully surprising element of this game, putting aside everything about the gameplay, which is just great. I mean, if there were to be any complaints about the gameplay, well, I did mention I think I prefer the fixed 16 rounds rather than the variable amount of rounds. And it is definitely the case that the game can work you over. Sometimes the dice are just completely unforgiving, and no matter how much you work to try to prepare and mitigate for those dice, they just might favor one player strategy over another. But the game is so quick, who cares? Just, fire up another map, or once you get them laminated, erase them and go again. The game is just so short and sweet. I can't really get too caught up in being bothered by the fact that, sometimes the winds just don't blow your way, and that's all right. But again, all of this segues into the other half. The, distribution method for Voyages, I think is fantastic. This was originally on Kickstarter, and it did really, really well. Over 10,000 backers, if I recall correctly. And it showed that there is a potential audience for something other than what I'm surrounded by. Big box, epic productions, tons of chits and pieces of plastic and pieces of wood and whatnot. Voyages is the antithesis to the modern board game, bigger is better mindset that we have gotten ourselves into. Really, I think ever since Gloomhaven blew up so hugely on Kickstarter. And I guess prior to that, Zombie Side, where publishers realized, wow, if we can just throw more and more and more and more and more and more and more in the box, people will get more and more excited and be more inclined to buy. Voyages says, hey, how about we just take a chill pill and go in the other direction? A piece of paper, a few dice, a pen is all you need. And, one of the beautiful things about it is the, Rory and Matt Dunstan, the designer publishers of this, they did not have to risk their entire life savings to be able to put this out, because this is designed to the metal. Which is an old HTML website developing term where it's just stripped down. It's just basic. This is when you get one of these in your email and you print it out, you are playing something that doesn't have any compromises for production schedules or whatever it is. This is just a pure reflection of their creative chops trying to create interesting and fun tension-filled moments within a very, very simple system and a very, very simple set of requirements. And I love it. I love just the raw, naked design that's on display, but I also love the message that the success of this game signals to the industry, that there are other avenues. There are other ways that we can develop and distribute games to people. I mean, 20 years from now, every household is going to have, in the same way these days in the Western world, the majority of households have some kind of printer. 20 years from now, every household is going to have some sort of 3D printer. And I look forward to a day when we can get our games not by having to order them online or go down to the local game store, but rather just saying, this is the dream that somebody had. They got together, they made a game, they did some testing, and yeah, I can just push a button and it will show up in my house because I'll print it out myself. Of course, this is not printing actual 3D components. You still have to have your own dice ahead of time. But this signals a future that I think is very exciting, that could be one of the ways that our favorite hobby, designer, gamer, geek board games, can spread out to the masses. And find their way into more homes, because as people get those 3D printers and they start, what am I going to print with these things? Oh my gosh, I can print board games or jigsaw puzzles or whatever. Yeah, why not? And it can open up the door to a heretofore unimaginable a number of designers and artists out there who have a dream, because all they've got to do is spend a little bit of their time. They don't have to make all those big investments in some huge 5,000 unit print run with Panda Manufacturing in China or whatever. I am personally so blown away and so excited by what this simple little paradigm shift could signal. We have had print and play games available, on Board Game Geek. There are guilds devoted to it. There are yearly awards for print and plays. There are board game YouTube channels. I have a couple of favorites myself. That are devoted to the print and play scene. But Voyages is the first game that I think opens up a broader audience's eye to the potential for print and play at home. And I love it. I'm super duper excited about not only just the fun factor of what this game is going to offer me in the future for a low $5.25 one-time purchase, but also for what this could, years down the road mean for the industry. And that's why I love Voyages, folks. Thanks very much for watching. Have a very nice day. Talk to you later. So long. Bye-bye.